All right. YouTube looks good. And Facebook is up. All right. So hopefully I won't have any fun issues like last week. I know, playtime hungers. Wrong. All right, out. Come on. You're almost time. I'm not gonna sit in the sunny spot because it's really warm in here. Imagine the sun will do that. Imagine. All right, so we're about on time. Who's with me this morning? Hello on YouTube. And I can't see here. All right. So we are ready to go. Almost found a shady spot. So I teased a little bit, standing on your head. And we'll actually go that direction, but how on the head it gets is, just like with anything, right? There's always, you start here, and then you add this, and then you add this, and then you add this. And if you can get all that, you can add that, and you're on your head, right? But you may be stuck, and not as a bad thing, someplace toward the beginning of that pose, right? For whatever reason. So if you've got any shoulder or neck issues, or you're just not feeling it today, forget it. Don't worry about it. It isn't like you can't do yoga without staying on your head, or you can't get enlightened without standing on your head, right? Absurd. So we move toward these places, and if we get them, lovely, and if we never do, so what? Right? And it's just like that with every pose. Standing on your head is a little bit more precarious, right? So that's why I say if you've got any sort of issues, don't even bother, right? It could actually help those issues, but not today. Not just over the internet with you and I, right? So that's something maybe a therapist or physical therapist, right, should deal with. So if that's your situation, then you go for it or not. So everything else we've done before, we're getting back into our sun salutes. I think I'm 100% after that awful cold. So let's go ahead and get on the mat. We're going to start standing. So find the top of your mat and find your feet. I know that always sounds so silly, but it's so important. Like, so whatever is on the floor, like we're going to talk about with our head later, right? We're going to talk about with our feet. So feet underneath the hip bones, toes point forward. And then kind of work around on your feet, right? There's a lot of space and you don't fall down. You can bend, you can roll in, you can roll out, you can forward and back. You can lean forward and back, right? So find the middle. We don't think about our feet, but find the middle. And then press down into the floor, feeling the muscles work. Okay? So you just got a little taller using the legs. See if you can do that with your spine. So just a little tug at the tailbone, and the crown of the head reaches toward the ceiling. Relax your shoulders. Let your arms hang down by your sides. Go ahead and close your eyes. Make sure that lower belly is engaged, holding your pelvis in that place. Head over shoulders, and just take a moment here. Feeling tall and stable, balanced. Check in with your body. Staying aware of what it needs as we move through our class. Begin to expand into the breath. Let the air come into that lower lobes of the lungs, upper belly maybe, right? Letting that rise and fall rather than just your chest rise and fall. See if you can come to a place that is just beyond comfortable. So it's like your breath is getting a stretch along with the rest of your body today. And see if you can find this place in more difficult poses. So the mind stays in this place. You've got this great foundation. Your belly's engaged, lovely breath. So keep that. And on the next inhale, take the arms and stretch them up toward the ceiling. Exhale, bring them back down. Let's do it again. And one more time. Back to the top. Interlace the fingers when you get there. You can rotate the palms toward the ceiling if you like. Relax the shoulders. Exhale as you tip right. Inhale back to center. And exhale as you tip left. So we're going to follow the breath and move side to side. Stay really stable in through the lower body. Keeping the spine long, the shoulders stacked, so to speak. We're going to go once more on each side, so really get in there as good as it's going to get for now. Inhaling your way back to the middle, and then exhaling the arms back to the sides. So standing nice and tall here, let's extend the arms out to the sides. We're going to take the left hand forward and the right hand back. And go ahead and look over your right hand. Let your body just do what it does, right? So you notice your feet are different, the knees are different, the hips have shifted, right? The whole body gets in on the act. And then come on back to center. Exhale, take it to the second side. So same idea, just let the whole body do the work. And then come on back to center. Release your arms, maybe roll them out a little bit. So a true twist occurs through the spine, not through your feet. Right? So let's try and keep the lower body stable. We talked a little bit about this with our twist last week, right? So keeping the lower body stable, the twist won't be as big, and that's okay, right? So the pelvis is going to stay square to the top of the mat. Let's extend the arms again. Take the left hand forward and the right hand back, but stop if you start to feel something else get in on it, right? So this is ideally just through the spine, and the twist isn't going to be as big. So what? Look over the shoulder if you like. Take the arms and wrap them around your body. So that left hand to the right hip, right hand's behind the back, reaching toward the left hip. And then you can use the arms to pull around a little deeper into the twist, or maybe just stabilize the pelvis a little bit more. Keep the spine really tall. And then we're going to release that. Coming back through the center, you can release your arms, roll them out again, right? You stay there a little long. And then take the second side. So the lower body's grounded, the spine is tall. We're extending the arms and turning toward the left. Wrapping the arms. And again here, just work the center, right? Work stability. And whatever the twist ends up being, it is. Big full breath. And then release that back to the middle. Release the arms, shake them out. And then take the hands to the thighs here. We're gonna come forward, half fold-ish kind of place. Lean on the legs if you feel like you need to lean on the legs. So we're gonna keep the belly in, the shoulders back. Leaning as much as you need to lean. If you have a deeper fold, gently begin to bring yourself there. Find where is enough for now. And then just gently work into it. Maybe you want to bend the knees side to side. Right? Shift your hips. Maybe round and then straighten the back again. Keeping the shoulders back. So if that needs be, the hands just maybe stay up on the thighs, shift to the calves here, or you might be able to touch the floor with the shoulders back. From here, we're going to work our way down into all fours. And then just take a second, wrist under shoulders, think about your fingers the way you thought about your feet, or your hands the way you thought about your feet. Right? So our palms even into the floor, right? You can use the fingers kind of pulling against the floor a little bit to work your hands and your forearms, right? If you like that. Just stay away from dumping all the weight into your wrist. Right? Spread the weight nice and even. And then the knees under the hips here. The spine is neutral in the middle, but on an inhale, go ahead and drop your belly toward the floor. And then exhale and round your spine toward the ceiling. Let's take just a few flows like that, in and out. And maybe you can gradually work a little deeper. Once more in each direction. Finding a center here. Keeping the belly engaged, the spine in this neutral position, we're going to extend the right leg straight back. So heel in line with the hip, we want to press through that leg as if we were standing on it, make it work. From there, extending the left arm forward. Arm alongside the ear, so we're this nice long line, and every muscle is engaged, holding us here. Let's go ahead and release it. And then switch sides, left leg. When you're ready, right arm. Releasing that back to the mat. Let's go ahead and move back to that first side. So right leg, left arm. Remember where I was. From here, we're going to add in some movement. So on an exhale, draw your elbow and knee together in the middle. And then inhale, stretch away from the body. Take a few flows like that. Try and move smooth and controlled with your breath. You might wobble a little. We're going to go once more. And then release it back down again. Right? So same idea on that second side. You know where we're going. Left leg and right arm. When you're ready, you add in the movement. Release it down when you're through. We're going to go one more time, and I think let's change it up just a little bit here. So I'm going to face forward, I think. So go ahead and extend your right leg back again. Heel in line with the hip just like we did, that's fine. This time bend your knee, pointing the toes toward the ceiling. You're gonna shift to the left just enough and see if you can pick up your right hand. If you can pick it up for more than a millisecond, right, that still works. See if you can find your foot back there. So you gotta find that sweet spot, right? Leaning just enough. But when you find your balance, see if you can then close that right hip. Draw it back toward the floor so your hips are square. And you can kick the foot into your hand and lift your toes and all those fancy things if you can maintain balance. Let's gently release, or maybe not so gently. And that's the idea, right? So the same thing on the second side here. Sometimes it's all perfect and graceful and all that, and just sometimes it's not, and you just have to live with it. So the left toes, shifting just enough to pick up the left hand. Finding the foot, and then squaring up the hips maybe. Take your time. Your brain can figure this out. Take one more breath. And then we're going to release it. So nice and easy from there. Once you're in that tabletop again, go ahead and sit the hips back and make your way toward a child's pose. Go easy. Start off one place, maybe sink into it a little deeper as you're ready. And then we're stretching the arms out nice and long, regrounding the four corners of the hands like we talked about, and then making our way into our first down dog. So you know what that means, just let yourself wiggle, stretch. And begin to settle in then. Pressing the chest back, sinking your heels, and bringing the head more in line with the arms. Just kind of play with it. If you need, take that little quick shift into a plank. Make sure that your hands and feet are far enough apart. And then keep what you have here. Let's go ahead and lift the right leg. Keep the hips square. And then open up just your right hip. The shoulders stay level, the knee bends, maybe pointing the knee toward the ceiling, think toes toward the floor-ish. Sometimes, huh? We're going to release that. And then switch. So we're lifting the left leg, take it nice and slow. Open the left hip, and then bend at the knee. Release that side. Let's go ahead and drop back down into our child's pose. Coming back to down dog. We'll walk the feet forward, back into our standing fold. And this time, take the feet a little wider. Keeping the toes pointing forward, though. And then take the hands and walk them over to the right. Like we did earlier, just let your body shift. Maybe a knee bends more than the other. Come on back to center. And then take the arms over to the left.
So it doesn't matter what you're touching, the floor, your foot, your shin, your thigh, whatever. Come on back to the middle. And we're going to open the feet a step wider. So we're moving toward a straddle. Listen to your body, whether you need it a little wider, a little more narrow, always up to you. Toes are pointing forward here. Press down into the feet like we did when we first started. And then keep the center with your lower body. Take the hands back over to the right again. So it's not a twist yet. But try not to let the body shift. Back to the center and over to the left. Same idea. And then back to the middle again. One more time. One step wider. And again, whether you go real wide or you're pretty narrow still, don't worry about it. Wider than before. Toes point forward. We're even on the four corners of the feet, so the hips are going to stay square. Fingertips to the floor right underneath the shoulders. Belly's in. Let's go ahead and take the right hand in the middle and bring the left hand to the hip. We're rotating around into our twist here. Belly, side ribs, shoulder. Extend out the crown of your head and feel as if you're sitting back into your hips, but don't actually lean back. Let's release that back to the middle. Taking the second side, left hand in center, right hand to the hip. Rotating around. And then releasing that back to the middle. Let's go ahead and walk our feet back in. Bring them right up underneath the hip bones. And then slide your hands up to your thighs, pressing the upper body so that you're parallel to the floor again. 90-degree bend in the hip-ish. Lean on the thighs if you need. We're going to sit back in the chair. Find four corners of the feet here. A little tuck of the tailbone if you feel like your bum is sticking out back there. Shoulders bounded back and the hands wherever you feel like you want the hands. Big breath. And on an inhale, stretch to the ceiling. And release it. So let's open up the front of the body. Hands either on the lower back, maybe interlaced behind the back if that's you this morning. Make sure your foundation is strong and stable. Little tuck of the tailbone, keeping the lower back long. Elbows pull toward each other. Shoulder blades pull toward each other. And the chest lifts toward the ceiling for this nice little back bend. If and when you can move a little deeper, go ahead. Keeping the chin tucked so the back of the neck stays nice and long as well. Nice big breaths, tons of space in the spine. And with an inhale, we're gently going to make our way back to the top. Go ahead and release your arms. Let the hands rest on the thighs here. We're going to come forward, half fold-ish again. Gently. Hold here for a moment. And then nice and easy all the way over. In this fold here, we're taking the feet together. I know some of you guys know where we're going. Only thing we do from here. So hug your legs together nice and tight. Bring the hands to the thighs, bend into the knees. Find yourself in this version of chair. So hug into the middle. Lower belly's in. That tailbone is tucked so your lower back stays nice and long. Your left hand, keep it simple to begin, of course, right? To the outside of the right knee. Right hand to the hip. Lovely little twist, right? If you want more, take that left elbow to the outside of the knee.
And then the palms can come together and you rotate around from here. So big, full breaths, nice long spine. And the twist is what it is. Try not to lean through the lower body too much, like we've been talking about. Releasing that twist, go ahead and come back to your fold. And we'll move to our second side. So let's go ahead and set back up. Into chair. Maybe starting in the easier variation of the twist and then moving in, right? If that's where you're at this morning. Otherwise, that elbow to the outside of the knee. Let me rotate around here. We'll take another big breath. And then release it. Back to the fold again. Let yourself hang if you want to get loose, maybe a bend in the knee. We can open our feet back into our normal hip bone distance. And then this time here, go ahead and bend into the knees with your inhale. We're rolled up through the spine. All the way back to our standing. All right, so to the top of the mat. As promised, back to our sun salutes. I can breathe and hopefully you've been practicing yours. So let's go. Inhale, stretch the arms up. Exhale, take yourself into fold. Inhaling, come halfway up. Exhale, we're gonna step ourselves back to plank. Knees if you need knees, of course, all the way down to the belly. Start with just a little shoulder roll, inhale. And then release that, up and back, down dog. Inhaling, step forward, fold. Coming halfway up on your next inhale. Folding back over. And then lifting all the way up. Exhale, release the arms at the top. And we will do that again. So inhale as you lift. Exhale to your fold. Halfway up. Back to plank. All the way down. Into cobra. Back to down dog. And then stepping forward. Halfway up on your inhale. Fold back over. And then reach for the ceiling. Exhale, release. So of course, adding on with this last one, okay, on an inhale, sit in a chair. Then exhale to your fold. Halfway up. And back to plank. All the way down. A little deeper into your cobra or an up dog if you're ready. And then release it back to down dog. With the inhale, step the right foot forward for lunge. Work your toes to the top of your mat, heel or knee to the floor, and lift the upper body. Come back down. Step back to down dog. On an inhale, slide forward for plank. And exhale down. Roll to cobra. Back to down dog. Left foot forward, inhaling. Work your toes and lift. Exhale back down again. Into down dog. Forward for plank. And exhale to the belly. Roll into cobra. Back to down dog. And then hold in your down dog or drop into child's pose. Nice big breaths here. If you dropped in the child's pose, lift back to down dog. And with your next inhale, step the feet forward, back to the fold. halfway up, exhaling back over. And then sitting in the chair, exhale, release it. So, yeah, that made me sweat. From the top of the mat here, let's go ahead and take a short step back with the left foot. So starting off in a warrior one, 10 toes pointing forward, 2 feet on the floor. Bending into the right knee and adjusting your stance. So maybe you need to be a little wider forward and backward. Maybe you need to be a little wider sideways. Okay. Find where it is, 4 corners of both feet. And then the hips stay square, shoulders stay square to the top, reaching the arms. Or not. You can always take your arms into maybe a little back bend. Maybe they're supporting on your hips. And release behind your back. Any little variation you like. And then we'll take the arms parallel to the floor, rotate it right arm over right leg, and open the hips here. So a wider stance probably. You can see your big toe on that right foot. And the left toes can open a little bit more. Or less if this right knee wants to come in. Let's bend the right arm. Rest the forearm on the thigh and bring the left arm over the ear. So lean on the leg here if you need to lean. Keeping the arm over the ear. Sinking into the hips. Let's release it over to a lunge. Go ahead and drop your back and let the hips sink. So keeping the hips nice and low, climb up on your thigh. So simple here. Left hand to the outside of the right knee, right hand to the hip, and we're twisting. Yeah? Maybe take that left elbow to the outside of the knee, just like we did in our chair, right? Wiggle the belly around, maybe bring the palms to touch, and rotate around here. If that's not fancy enough, you can lift your back knee. Listen to your body. And we'll release the twist. Step forward, fold. Let yourself hang for a second. And then how about again here, let's bend in through the knees, roll up through the spine. Back to standing. All right, so side B, same idea. I'm gonna turn around. Taking that short step back with the right foot. And then finding how wide your feet need to be so both feet can be on the floor with all 10 toes pointing forward. Bending into the left knee, keeping the hips square, shoulders, and then you add your arms. Opening into our warrior two. Take your time, adjust your feet. Typically, they will not be in the same place here as they were in warrior one. So find 4 corners. Hips and shoulders are level to the floor, not shifting. Let's bend the left arm, rest it on the thigh, and bring the right arm over the ear. And then release it over into your lunge. Dropping the back knee. Finding stability, sinking into the hips here. Climb up on the thigh. And then you add as much twist as you want. So whether it's just your right hand to the outside of the knee or your right elbow to the outside of the knee, finding where the twist is. And it can change. Lifting the back knee if you'd like. And then we're going to release that twist. Let's go ahead and step forward. Last time into our standing fold. Bending in through the knees and rolling up through the spine. So we added in a twist to our standing balance last week. We're going to change it up just a little bit today. So from here, off your mat, on your mat, whatever makes you happy that way. Go ahead and take all the weight over into your left foot and lift your right knee. Standing nice and tall. Keep length, right? So simple, bringing the left hand to the outside of the knee, right hand to the hip, and you can rotate around. Try to avoid pulling the knee, keeping that stable so you have something to resist against to pull you into a deeper twist. If you want more, you can slide that hand down to the outside of the calf, but the same idea, the knee points forward or the outside of the foot. And maybe extend the leg, rotating around. Stand nice and tall. Look to the right if that's you. And then we're gently going to release all of that and move to the second side. So take your time in and out, shifting weight right, lifting the left knee. This is good, right? This is definitely balance. Adding in the hand on the outside of the knee is a nice little addition of the twist. And if you want more, you go deeper. Okay. Take your time with it. Sometimes you move in pieces. Sometimes you have to move back out in those same pieces. And then we're gently going to release that. So, is what it is. Come on back to the top of the mat here. Inhale, stretch your arms up toward the ceiling. And take yourself over into fold. Let's go ahead and step ourselves back into all fours, and then down into a child's pose. So here's where we're going to start to play with being upside down. Having the top of your head on the floor instead of your feet or your hands or your knees. Your shoulders sometimes. So the goal is to find the top of the head. We don't have a lot of experience with this, right? You put a hat on your head and even that isn't necessarily touching the top of your head, right? So we want to find that first. And you can put next to zero body weight into it. So keep that in mind. If you are experiencing any issues for your shoulders or your neck, if at some point it does not feel good, stop. Okay? But you can find the top of your head without really putting any weight in it. We're going to use our arms to support the body. So go ahead and interlace your fingers and make a cup with your fingers. Take your elbows underneath your shoulders, so they're a little wider, but nothing crazy. Okay.
them up under. You got that little cup. So sometimes from your child's pose, you can just roll from your forehead to the crown of your head, extending up, and sometimes that's a perfect place, but sometimes it's not. So wiggle around until you feel the top of your head on the floor. And again, you're not leaning on it, you're just touching the floor with your head. Does that make sense? And you're supporting the back of your head with the cup of your hands, right? So the arms are bearing the weight, the cup of the hands are supporting your head so you don't go too far, right? You can wiggle a little bit forward and back, maybe a little bit side to side, but again, remember, you're not leaning on your head. You're touching the floor with your head. All the body weight is in the arms. Well, underneath. So finding that, and you should be able to breathe in it too, right? If you can't breathe, your chin might be tucked in toward your throat a little bit and your neck flattens out then, right? So being aware of how it feels, not just the touch of your head on the floor, but whether your spine feels long, whether your shoulders feel relaxed, whether you can breathe, yeah? If you are convinced that you have the top of your head and you want to put a little bit of body weight in it, you can lean on your head, but think taking your shoulders away from your ears so your neck really lengthens out. If you're all smashed up and then you lean on your head, that can cause problems too. So find tons of space in your neck. Shoulders away from your ears. You can go deeper without even putting any more body weight on your head. Yeah? So really lean on your arms. And if you want, you can lift your knees, work toward a headstand if you have a headstand practice. And even here, I have very little weight on my head. The vast majority is on my arms. So listen to your body. If you're near a wall, you can use a wall to support for your headstand. Taking just a few more breaths and playing wherever it is, whether it's just finding your head, whether it's adding a tiny little bit of weight, whether it's getting all the way up into your freestanding headstand. Go ahead and come on down. Wherever you've been, go ahead and stack your fists here. And then put your chin in the top fist and let the weight of your head sink into your hands. And that just feels good. But if you got your neck a little tight there, that should really allow it to release. And then we're going to release all that. Kind of sit up on the heels. And bring the legs around front. So extending the legs out long, making sure that your pelvis is upright here. Tall through the spine. Let's go ahead and reach the arms. And we'll fold forward. Remember to let your hands fall where they do. Don't worry about touching your toes. Shoulders away from the ears so your spine is really long. Another nice big breath. With an inhale, reaching back up again. Release the arms. We'll take the feet flat to the floor. Make sure you have some place to roll back to. We will be rolling back in a little minute. Keep the spine tall. Hang on to the backs of your thighs here. Arms are almost straight. So you're leaning back a little bit, but nothing too crazy. Make sure your belly is doing the work.
right? You can hang on with your arms too, for sure, but we want the belly to work more than the lower back. So the toes can stay low. They can come up off the floor to the middle or extend high. And like I said, you can hang on or let go in any one of those places. Right? So find where the challenge is, where you shake at least a little bit. And then go ahead and bend your knees if they're not already. Take the soles of the feet together, reaching down, grab your ankles. So let the knees open, keeping the shoulders down and back. If you round the back, you fall back. It's just the way it goes. So try and stay really, really neutral through your spine. Without releasing your feet to the floor, if you can, index middle fingers wrap around the big toes. And then maybe extend your right leg. Doesn't have to be all the way straight. Don't worry about how wide it is. Just take it out there. Notice how you have to kind of compensate for the weight. Come on back. And then switch. Bring it into center. And then let's go both. Right? So extending the legs, straight or not straight, wide or not very wide. Keep the spine really tall. Try to use your belly at least as much as your hands holding your legs here. And then bring it back together. Hang on to your ankles again. And this time you can go ahead and roll back. Keeping the soles of the feet together. Let them come to the floor. Rest your belly, your inner hips. And then bring the knees in. Nice and easy, knees to the chest and rock. So taking the feet flat to the floor, let's go ahead and cross the left ankle over the right knee. And then reach behind the right thigh here, interlacing your fingers. You can use a strap here if that's better, either behind the thigh or in front of the knee. Shin. Keeping the left knee open, you can pull the right leg in towards your chest. Feet stay flexed. You might feel your body rounding up a little bit here. So keep the arms pulling toward your body, but use your leg to kick back away. And if you were rounding, maybe you flatten out again a little bit. Let's go ahead and release it. Switching side, right ankle over left knee. Reaching back behind the left thigh, using your strap if that's you. Pulling in as you press the right knee away. Notice whether you're feeling your hips shift or your spine round. And let's try and level it or even it back out. So keep pulling the arm in, press the leg away, press the left leg away. Pressing the right one. And then go ahead and release that to the floor. We'll open the arms then into our T position here. Check in that your spine feels long and neutral. And then you can decide whether you just drop your knees over to the right, you shift your hips first, you leave your knees bent or take the legs straight. Remember, any of those variations is perfectly fine here. Whether you're resting into it or working a little harder is always up to you. Enjoying this final recline twist. We're going to take just a couple more breaths over on this side. And then gently make your way back up to the middle. Evening out in center, and then taking the same general variation as the first side here. So of course, your sides are a little different. So if you need a slight adjustment, or you've got a spot that needs a little bit different stretch over here, just honor that, make the adjustments, giving your body exactly what it needs. One more nice big breath. And then gently making your way back up to the center again. Finding your neutral spine again here. And when you have that, draw the knees back to the chest and rock again. Squeeze the knees in, pull the forehead toward the knees, give yourself a hug. And then release it, taking a full body stretch. Go ahead and release your stretch. And find Shavasana. So whether that's fully extended on the floor, your feet flat, the soles of the feet together, legs up the wall, seated meditation, anything that's going to work for you right now. See if you can find alignment and comfort. Releasing the muscles, release control of your breath. And most importantly, and probably most difficult, releasing any random thought that wanders into your mind. Allow yourself to stay present and aware. Use these last few minutes just to rest and relax. Slowly drawing in a nice, deep, cleansing breath. And then letting it all go. Gently restoring movement to the body, wiggling, moving, and stretching. When you're ready, taking the feet flat to the floor. Gently making your way back up to a seated position. Sitting well. Bringing the palms to touch. Bowing to the light within. Namaste. So I hope you give it a go in one way or another. Something that you weren't quite sure that you could do, or maybe it surprises you and that goes in a little deeper than it normally might. Just something to keep the spark. Okay. So enjoy your weekend wherever you are. If I don't see you before, but I probably won't see you before. I will see you next week. And certainly reach out with any questions or comments or suggestions, something you found fun and something maybe you didn't find as fun. And we'll see you next week. Thanks.